Okay, Sunday morning. This one won't be easy, though. The Dodgers are in town. The D-backs with a chance to win the series after winning their series with the Giants to open up this homestand. But today they're up against the best pitcher in baseball this year, Zack Greinke. D-backs have their ace on the mound as well, Patrick Corbin. It's Arizona Diamondbacks Sunday Baseball presented by Sanderson Ford, and this one should be good. Patrick Corbin, Zack Greinke, the D-backs and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. And good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The series finale here at D-backs and Dodgers. Diamondbacks a chance to take 2 of 3 from these guys, Bob, but they're up against Zack Greinke. This one won't be easy.
No, not at all. If you talk about the National League Cy Young Award, he would either be at the top of the list or certainly in a very small group at the top. This guy is having just an unbelievable season. He's had 2 4-game winning streaks since the end of June. He's sitting on 3 victories in a row right now. 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's got a full arsenal of pitches. This guy is going to be a tough customer today.
Patrick Corbin can be equally tough. Patrick's road from Tommy John recovery continues here. He's gone at least 6 innings in 3 consecutive starts for the first time all year.
Yeah, 2 wins and a no decision in those 3 starts, and he actually probably pitched better in the no decision than the 2 victories. But Patrick really starting to round into the form that we saw before the Tommy John surgery. Hopefully another long outing for Patrick today.
So this will be fun. Settle in, Dodgers and Diamondbacks, Greinke and Corbin. Although this has not exactly been a pitcher's series so far, we have seen no shortage of offense from either side. Running wild, the balls have been flying out of Chase Field here. Series finale coming up. It's the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs on the field, part of our Subway Kids Take the Field lineup, as we are set to honor America. Here now, the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. Presenting our colors today, please welcome the veteran officer members from the Military Officers Association of America. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers invite you to join in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by Brad Kepler on behalf of Casa Grande Union High School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the leather bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The D-backs and the Dodgers. Here, Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Patrick Corbin. The 26-year-old left-hander, 3 impressive outings in a row now as he continues his comeback from Tommy John surgery. He's won his last 2 starts.
I think it's really important just to finish strong and finish these 4 or 5 next starts and end this season healthy and look into a normal offseason. But I just feel like every start, every time I'm out there, I get more and more comfortable. Even though the results are up and down, it definitely helps just getting out there.
Numbers on Patrick: 12 starts, a 3.32 ERA, coming off wins at Colorado, then here against the Giants at Chase Field in his previous start last Monday. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer in each of his last 3 starts.
Yeah, I mentioned the no decision against the St. Louis Cardinals. He went 6 innings, gave up only 3 hits and 1 run in that game, but left with the score tied at 1. Diamondbacks went on to lose that ball game.
Justin Ruggiano, who had a leadoff homer earlier this week, clanks it off the wall on the first pitch of the ball game, and he's in at second with a leadoff double. Ruggiano just 7 games with LA after they picked him up from Seattle. He's already got 3 homers and 10 RBIs. He almost took Corbin deep on the first pitch of the game.
To the opposite field, no less. Pitch was down and out over the plate, and Ruggiano has backspun the ball this entire series. Every time he makes contact, the ball seems to jump off his bat. This one narrowly misses getting into that Dodger bullpen down the right field line.
So no chance for Patrick to settle in. Jose Peraza, the second baseman, bunts it right to Jake Lamb at third. Ruggiano moves up, 1 away. The lineup for Don Mattingly's LA Dodgers today.
You see Ruggiano and Peraza. Ruggiano in left, Peraza at second, Justin Turner at third base, Adrian Gonzalez at first. Scott Van Slyke will be out in right field this afternoon, with Corey Seager having an unbelievable series at shortstop. A.J. Ellis doing the catching, Jock Peterson out in center field, and right-hander Zach Greinke on the mound.
See the Diamondbacks where they set up the infield here with Ruggiano at third and 1 out for Justin Turner.
I was just thinking that. You know, Tony La Russa's brought a lot of his philosophies here with the Diamondbacks organization. And one of the things Tony used to always do in situations like this was play his infield back until Patrick Corbin delivers the ball, and then everybody comes charging in.
He did that on that last pitch, and now you can see where they are. 1-0 to Turner.
You know, the idea behind that is the third base coach and the runner at third, they take a look at where the infield is positioned. Everybody's playing back. Okay, you're going on contact, and then as the pitch is delivered, the infielders come charging in, and if the ball is hit on the ground, you might get an easy out at home plate.
This is in the air toward the left field corner. Long run for Peralta, and it's in the bullpen and out of play. Allowed strike 2. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks around their left-hander. Our mid-first bank starting defense for Arizona.
David Peralta running wind sprints out there in left field. A.J. Pollock in center. Ender Inciarte over in right field. It'll be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield, with Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Jared Saltalamacchia getting a start behind the plate today, and left-hander Patrick Corbin on the mound.
1-2 on Turner. Justin Turner hitting .283 this year. He's got 15 home runs.
Nice stop. Wow.
Jared Saltalamacchia behind the plate, 2-2.
I say it all the time. Any block is a good block. I think Salty used his face mask on this one. Breaking ball hit way out in front of home plate. You just try to get some body part in front, and that time it was his mask that kept the ball in front.
Corbin in his last start was very good at keeping that slider down in the dirt. One of the things that was a priority for Patrick, he said, in that last start. Did it again there, and now it's a full count, 3-2.
Busy inning already for Jared Saltalamacchia behind the plate. You know it's going to be. Patrick Corbin relies heavily on that back foot slider to the right-handed hitter, and a lot of those are going to end up in the dirt.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Base hit. Ruggiano scores. RBI single for Turner, and 3 batters in. It's 1-0 Los Angeles.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Fastball outer third. High leg kick we've seen Justin Turner use throughout this series. Soft line drive into right field to drive home the first run of the game.
Well, the Diamondbacks in the series opener Friday scored 4 in the first, 6 in the second. Dodgers last night got 2 in the first, 5 in the third. And they're at it again here. Gonzalez now. D-backs have the shift on. There's ball 1. Mark Ripperger is our plate umpire this afternoon. Gonzalez 276 and 27 homers, leading the Dodgers in RBIs. This was Gonzalez 2 for 7 in the series, both hits last night, including that off Ruby De La Rosa. A brief night for Ruby. 6 runs all earned on 9 hits. He went 2+. 2-0 on Gonzalez. Base hit. It's in the gap in right center. Inciarte picks it up. Turner holds it second. That's already 3 hits against Patrick Corbin.
Patrick throwing a lot of strikes, unfortunately very hittable strikes. A lot of pitches in the middle of the plate, slightly elevated, and Dodgers have made some solid contact here in the first. You'd like to try to settle in out there on the mound, establish that strike zone, work out to the corners, down to the bottom, but Dodgers just are not allowing Patrick to settle in at all.
And against the Giants, he was burying that slider in the dirt, keeping it down nicely. Threw a fair amount of sliders actually in that win last week. He said the previous game he'd given up a couple of home runs on sliders, so he made sure that that was something he wasn't going to do his last time out, and he pitched very well. Scott Van Slyke. Van Slyke 247 and 5 homers. Mentioned Mark Ripperger, the plate umpire. Want to wish the best to Jim Wolf, who lives in the Valley. Took one off the face mask the other night and had to leave the ball game. So Jim, if you're watching, get well soon. You know he'd like to be behind the plate for this one. Corbin Greinke. 0-2. This was Jim Wolf Friday night. Tried to stay in the game and then had to leave.
Down to a knee. Tried to stay in the ball game, but everybody felt it was in his best interest, in everybody's best interest, for Jim to take the rest of the evening off, and saw the doctors and apparently passed all the concussion tests and listed as day-to-day, aren't we all?
0-2 to Van Slyke. So Marcus Patillo was called in to take Jim Wolf's place in this crew, and there's Marcus. He's got first base this afternoon. So our best wishes to Jim Wolf. Get well soon. Van Slyke 0 for 5 in the series. He's in there today for another right-hand bat from Mattingly against Patrick Corbin. He's more than 40 points better versus left-hand pitching this year.
The numbers down a little bit this year for Scott Van Slyke, but in talking to Oral Hershiser, the TV analyst for the Dodgers side, I asked him last year one time, do you think Scott Van Slyke is an everyday outfielder? And without hesitation, he said yes. This guy's got prodigious power when he makes contact, solid defender in the outfield with a strong throwing arm. As you said, most of his success has come against lefties, but a lot of people around the game feel if he was given an opportunity to play 150 games a year, he'd put up very representative numbers.
Oral working Dodgers TV just to our left with Charlie Steiner. Doesn't get the call there from Mark Ripperger, and it's 2-2. That's one of Patrick's great strengths. He will come inside against right-hand hitters. Just missed that time. Bounce to third. Backs up Jake Lamb. They get one, and they won't get two. The force on Gonzalez. Turner in at third with 2 outs.
And Jake has to back up a couple of steps to play the big hop right there. He does unload it quickly to CO at second base, but you can see Adrian Gonzalez right on top of him as he tried to complete that relay on to first. No chance to turn 2.
Well, let's try and do something that we have yet to see in this series, and that's get Corey Seager out. They haven't done it yet. They're in the corners now with 2 down. Seager hitting .467 through his first 9 major league games and had his first career home run last night. Right back to Corbin, and there you go. It only took 1 pitch this time. Patrick strands 2, but the Dodgers get 1. Underway here at Chase Field. At 31, having the best season of his career since he won a Cy Young in Kansas City back in '09, and he is likely about to win another one this year. For a scouting report, let's hop on board the freight train.
We're just gonna be patient with him. I mean, he got pretty good stuff and everything. We're not thinking too much. Like, okay, we know he's gonna be on the mound. We don't try to think too much about that. We just keep it the same approach. And just be patient. I mean, he got a lot of good moving in the ball, and we're just gonna try to drive the ball to the guys.
A.J. Pollock gets first crack at Zach Greinke, who leads the major leagues in ERA, quality starts, opponent's batting average, and WHIP. He has lost only 3 times all season, and just 1 since the middle of June. Right to Peraza at second. 1 away. The lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks today.
A.J. Pollock once again atop the lineup out in center field. Andrew Inciarte in right field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base with David Peralta cleaning up out in left field. Jared Saltalamacchia getting the start behind the plate. Jake Lamb at third. Chris Owings at second. Nick Ahmed at short. And Patrick Corbin, the lefty, on the mound.
You think that's a good plan for Greinke? Don't think you can only hurt the ball club?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you try to run up a pitch count on any starting pitcher, but especially on Zach Greinke. I mean, he's a 6-7 inning guy. You don't usually see him pitching into the 8th or 9th inning. If you can run up a pitch count early and get into that soft underbelly of the Dodgers bullpen, you have a much better chance of beating this team.
We saw Greinke there a moment ago just shift Peraza, the second baseman, over a couple of steps toward first as Ender Inciarte steps in. One and one for Ender, who's hitting an even .300. He's got 4 home runs and just outside the top 10 in the league in hitting. Really hitting the ball well right now. Bounces one the other way to Turner. And he's out on the grass. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Goldie.
First baseman, number 44.
What a contrast so far. Patrick Corbin really had to labor to avoid big trouble in his first inning. So far, Greinke 2 outs on 5 pitches. And 5th in the league in hitting at .318. Here's Paul Goldschmidt. 28 homers. 2nd in the league with those 99 RBIs.
It really is a double-edged sword when you face a guy like Greinke, because he's going to throw strikes. He's going to be around the zone with all of his pitches. So you want to be aggressive knowing he's going to throw early strikes. But if you don't square it up, if you don't find gaps or find holes in that infield, you're going to have some very quick pitch innings like he's on his way to right now.
You saw the numbers there. Goldie has struck out in just about half of his at-bats against Zach Greinke. Goldie's got 3 hits in the series. Had a home run Friday. Did a couple of doubles last night. A.J. Ellis behind the plate today. Down the right field line. That is a foul ball. Take a look at the Dodgers around Zach Greinke. Our mid-first bank starting defense for Los Angeles.
Feature an outfield of Justin Ruggiano, Jock Peterson, and Scott Van Slyke left to right. With Justin Turner and Corey Seager on the left side of the infield. Jose Peraza and Adrian Gonzalez on the right side. With veteran A.J. Ellis behind the plate and right-hander Zach Greinke on the mound.
1-2. He got him. A 10-pitch first inning for Zach Greinke. He's got a 1-0 lead. Set for the second inning here. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 1-0. Justin Turner an RBI single, the only scoring so far. And the LA catcher A.J. Ellis leads off the second against Patrick Corbin. Ellis 232. He's got 4 home runs. Ellis started Friday's series opener. He was 0 for 4. The rookie all-star center fielder Jock Peterson is in the on-deck circle. He's batting 8th against the lefty Patrick Corbin. Did not see Jock Peterson in the lineup here Friday against lefty Robbie Ray. But he's in there today versus Corbin. Fly ball along the left field line. Peralta on the tracks, and the freight train runs it down into the wall, and he can't hang on. Well, David's had some adventures over there lately. At least no one reached over this time.
Another long run for David just to get to the spot right there. Looked like he got leather on it, but when he came down, hit the padding there, the ball just fell out of the glove into the stands, it appeared. Yep. One thing about those big, long outfielders' glove, it's not as easy to control the ball in the pocket because you can't always feel it if it's way out there near the webbing of the glove.
So it's still a ball and 2 strikes on A.J. Ellis. David a little frustrated out there. There's a fly ball along the right field line, and Cincinnati. One away. Jock Peterson coming up. Here's Don Mattingly, the Dodgers skipper.
I think seeing the adjustment that the league made to him and what they were doing to him, and him not being able to basically make that back, and so kind of exposing him just a little bit. He's been doing a lot of work. He's putting the ball in play on a better rate for us now.
Well, he's 3rd in the National League in strikeouts, Jock Peterson. Slumping at .219, does have 25 homers, including 5 this year against left-hand pitchers. First pitch, he jumps on it, dunks it into center, a base hit. 4th hit for Los Angeles. And here's Greinke, who can swing the bat.
Zach Greinke.
Greinke, a .207 hitter on the season. Got a couple of homers. He's put down 6 sacrifice bunts. He's only struck out 10 times in 58 at bats, which is really good for a pitcher.
Does not square the ball, instead lifts it out to right for Cincinnati. Anders there, 2 outs.
Wait a moment. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game today. So far, so good. Get Seager and Greinke out. Got Seager his first at bat. Zach Greinke just flied out on the first pitch. Also, get Greinke out of the game. And for Patrick Corbin, another building block. We mentioned 3 consecutive starts, going at least 6 innings. You heard Patrick mention it earlier. He just wants to finish the season strong, finish the season healthy, and have a normal off season. Another good building block opportunity here today for Patrick.
Justin Ruggiano now, who led off the ball game with a double and scored the only run so far. Yeah, Patrick made his first start this year, July 4th here at Chase Field. And it was a little bit of a feeling out process in the early going. First few outings coming off the Tommy John surgery. But the results ever since the end of July have been more and more consistent for Patrick. Unbeaten in his last 8 starts, and even with a couple of dead arm clunkers in there, the short starts at Washington and then at Cincinnati about a month ago. His ERA during this 8-start unbeaten stretch is 3.12, so he's pitched really well lately. Peterson has been caught stealing twice as often as he's been successful this year.
We talked about Peterson last night. This is a guy that had a couple of 30 stolen base seasons in the minor leagues, a couple of other seasons in the high 20s, and only 3 steals this season. Rarely even attempts to run anymore.
Peterson takes off as Corbin spikes another one, trying to keep that pitch down in the dirt, and it gives Peterson an extra 90 feet. Salty's in for a long day back there.
It's been a long day already. An inning and 2/3, and Salty's had to block about a dozen pitches in the dirt already. This one gets just far enough away, and Peterson got himself a good jump at first, so he's in scoring position now with 2 outs.
And Ruggiano up there with a count of 2 balls and a strike. Corbin behind 3-1 now. Peraza, the second baseman, on deck. Full count.
Matt Head got way out there that time. But that drives hitting coaches crazy. Check swings on 2-0 and 3-1 counts.
You're either supposed to be convicted or not, right?
Let it go or take an aggressive swing, not a check swing. You know, it counts in your favor. You're thinking one pitch, one location, and if it's not there, you just take it. If it happens to be a strike, you go to work on the full count pitch.
Mark McGuire in the dugout, the Dodger hitting coach. 3-2 now to Ruggiano. Got him. 92 right by him. First strikeout for Corbin. He strands the 1-out single. It's 1-0 LA. Fans, excited to introduce to you the new Diet Pepsi. Same crisp and refreshing flavor that you love, but now aspartame free. Pick up some today at your local retailer. That Greinke a 1, 2, 3, 10 pitch first, and now Peralta leads off the second. David 305. That's good for 9th in the National League. 15 home runs. Got that 15th homer last night.
It came against the lefty. Big breaking ball that stayed up and out over the plate. I mean, David has really turned around his career as far as his ability to hit lefties, although he was in a 1 for 12 skid against left-handed pitching before that home run last night.
Down against Greinke, 0-2.
That one came up and hit him in the armpit or the rib cage, somewhere on that backside. Drives it right down into the dirt, comes back up and bites him.
You don't see that in the deodorant commercials.
No. See, a good deodorant would repel that baseball.
I see. Called strike 3. Second strikeout for Greinke. Mark Rippiger rings him up.
Now batting, catcher, Jared Santalumakia.
That's why he's leading the majors in ERA right there. Location, he can pretty much throw it wherever he wants, whenever he wants. And Greinke has said that's been the difference this year. He feels like when he's out there, he can put the ball any place he wants at any time. Here's Salty. Shift is on for the Dodgers.
And Greinke's one of those pitchers that's more involved in the sabermetric angle of pitching recently, checking the spray charts. Where do guys hit balls when they're ahead in the count? Where do they hit balls when they're behind in the count? Where have opposing hitters hit my fastball? Where have they hit my off-speed deliveries? And comes up with a game plan before every start, and you'd have to say it's working pretty well for him.
Well, he said last week there haven't been many games this year where he wasn't throwing the ball where he wanted to. It's been pretty consistent. Just like that, 1 and 2. He has been the best pitcher in the game this year. Even Madison Bumgarner said earlier this month, look, Greinke's he's having a special year, no doubt about that, one you don't see too often. And the numbers certainly back that up.
I mentioned the short list for National League Cy Young. Certainly his teammate Clayton Kershaw would get some consideration. Jake Arrieta in Chicago for what he's done in the second half of the season. Madison Bumgarner with the Giants, all guys that are having outstanding seasons, but Greinke's been pretty good since day one until today.
You start looking at that ERA this deep into the year, and it's at record levels. Just missed that time, and it's 3 and 2. I mean, you don't see many guys on September 13th with a 1.68.
I mean, that's Bob Gibson territory.
Sure is. He missed there. Salty draws a 1-out walk. First D-backs base runner today.
Now batting, third baseman, Jake Lamb.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Here's Jake Lamb. Jake, 279 and 6 home runs. You mentioned the tacos. Funny that that came up because I saw that you were presented with a gift from a fan that would like you to dress as a taco.
Yeah. And David and Joan Clausen, we do appreciate the costume that you sent up here to the booth. I believe they're season ticket holders. I know they're huge Diamondbacks fans and big taco fans as well.
Who isn't?
But
having said that,
I think the taco might be just a little bit small for me. We'll have to find somebody else in the booth, and
maybe Dennis Lamb.
Yeah, you know, they just thanks, and I thought you might want to use this for when the D-backs score 5 runs. Well, we'll find somebody to win.
Peraza at second. Seager turns it. That was hit slowly to second base, and it gets Greinke out of the inning. The 4-6-3 ends the second. D-backs trail it 1-0.
Announcing our D-backs. He's here with his family. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Ford Kidcaster Sunday, and here is one of my guys. Now, Genaro Garcia is with us. You're one of the biggest Diamondback fans I know. You're at every fan fest. You're at all the games. I see you at spring training. You are a big-time D-back fan, so it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you again. What do you make of the team this year? Give us your analysis of the season so far.
It's been a great season. I mean, I know we're in third place, I think, in the NL West. I'm sure we could probably bounce back, hopefully. But it's been a great season. You know, Goldie's hitting a lot of home runs, which is good. The team's playing good. It's been great.
All right, well, it's great to have you here. Have you got a job yet? What do you do for a living?
Go to school and play baseball.
Good. Those are two good things.
And you're back in school now, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Jose Peraza trying to run for a base hit. How about the shovel pass there and the athletic ability of the former basketball player Patrick Corbin?
Nice play.
How about that?
And really the only play he can make right here, chasing that ball up the first baseline. If he gloves and tries to turn his body, Peraza probably legs it out, but the scoop and backhand right on the money to Goldie. Nice play.
It was a great play from Corbin.
Now it says here, Genaro, that your favorite Diamondback is Goldie. Do I need to ask why? What is it about Goldie in particular?
He's a great guy. I mean, I've met him before, and he's really nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're around all the time. Yeah. I bet you've met all these guys. This is the back of your baseball card, basically. Cowboys are playing tonight, right, against the Giants? All right.
Yep.
It says you want to be a baseball broadcaster now.
And there's a shot to right.
There you go. Justin Turner. Now, why would anybody want to do that? I locked him up on that one. Why do you want to be a baseball broadcaster?
Well, I mean, it's very fun. I like to talk, honestly. So I'm sure people who do broadcast talk a lot.
Too much sometimes.
Yeah. So, I mean.
That's great. Well, let me tell you, it's the best job in the world. It's a lot of fun, and you've already figured that out, so you're way ahead of the game. Why don't you take this play here? I don't know. Here's Adrian Gonzalez.
Corbin deals, and it's a strike outside. 0-1.
What do you think of Patrick Corbin's recovery from Tommy John surgery?
It's good that he's back.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
So Gonzalez, 27 home runs on the season. Had his 27th last night, actually. There's a swing and a miss. 0-2.
Now this is when you're supposed to go to Bob and find out what he thinks.
That's right, Genaro.
See? It's a well-oiled machine.
And it's good to see Patrick Corbin back, and we expect him to be even better next year. You know, second year removed from the Tommy John surgery.
And there goes Turner, and Turner is safe at second.
Throw just wide of the bag from Salty. Dodgers have been aggressive on Patrick Corbin so far, Bob.
So there's Turner's 5th of the season.
I believe the Dodgers have 53 steals on the season. 22 of those have come since the end of August. I mean, they weren't much of a running team at all season long, but with the expanded rosters, a little bit more speed on that Dodger roster, and even guys like Justin Turner looking for opportunities to get themselves into scoring position.
I agree with you.
1-2.
Gonzalez swings, and it's going to be a single in the center.
They got Turner hung up. He stopped halfway.
Oh, it hits Turner.
So throw in from the outfield, got him in the back. So both Turner and Gonzalez 2 for 2 so far.
That's his buzzard luck there. A.J. Pollock did a nice job of decoying Turner into thinking he was going to catch that ball. So Turner stopped halfway between second and third. And A.J. comes up firing on a hop and hits Turner right in the middle of the back.
So Corbin in a mess here, just like in the first inning. They're on the corners with 1 out. Turner at third.
Who's been slight?
Adrian Gonzalez at first. You think the Dodgers how are they going to do in the playoffs, you think?
I don't know. The past 2 years, the Cardinals have been their enemies in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right about that. Good call.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are better than ever this year.
Yep. They got the best record in baseball right now.
And misses inside, 1-0. It says here, Hanaro, this is funny. It says your favorite food is sirloin steak, but after that it says in parentheses, medium well.
Yeah.
So you're very strict about your diet, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, you like it the way you like it. Did you have a bad experience? Somebody undercooked some steak before? Or
maybe overcooked?
Yeah.
One time I tried medium rare.
Too red for you?
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
Are you still watching SpongeBob? Is that show still on? The SpongeBob, the SquarePants?
Yep.
All right.
2-0 count on Van Slyke. Here's a pitch. And inside 3-0.
And Slyke reached on a fielder's choice his first time up, so he's 0 for 6 in the series. First and third, 1 out, 3-0 to Van Slyke.
And he swings at a 3-0 pitch, and it's a great stop from Owens.
Ahmed spins, they can't get Van Slyke. Turner scores, and it's 2-0 Dodgers.
That was a nice stop from Owens. They got that out at second.
And a really quick turn by Nick Ahmed.
Yeah.
He's just about the quickest in the business down there.
Given what's at stake, if you turn that double play, it takes a run off the board, so might as well give it a shot. Nick with the bare hand play spins all the way around with his back to Goldie, just a little bit too late to get Van Slyke over there at first base.
Fielder's choice and an RBI for Van Slyke. Turner scores the second Dodger run. Here's Corey Seager.
Corey Seager got his first career major league home run last night.
He did, and they finally got him out.
Yep.
Oh, his first time up.
Yeah. Last night, 4 for 4.
I mean, look at the numbers. It's just been nuts here. 9 plate appearances in the first 2 games of this series. 5 hits, 4 walks. He's driven in 3 runs, and he scored 3 times.
See, there's that home run.
Not bad for a guy who'd only played 9 big league games. He's about your age, 21.
Well, apparently he hasn't done enough yet to sway his manager. Don Mattingly still insists that when Jimmy Rollins is ready, he will be reinserted into the lineup as the everyday shortstop.
Rollins out right now with a sprained right index finger. And Mattingly said when Rollins does get back in there, then they'll give Corey Seager some time at third base, where they think eventually he might have to move full time down the road. Justin Turner's been slumping a little bit up until today. He's 2 for 2 so far.
There's low and outside. 2-1.
So now, I don't suppose they have a journalism school where you go to school. What's your favorite subject?
Probably, I like geography, so probably social studies.
You see, baseball's right up your alley then. You travel all over the place.
What's the capital of Wisconsin? Go. Goldie on the backhander. Madison.
So there's the third out.
Hanaro Garcia, great job, buddy. Great to see you. Thanks for visiting us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me up here.
Good to have you.
by side for the Detroit Tigers. Broke the record that was set by Kansas City Royals George Brett and Frank White.
Don't know how they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, man.
Chris Owings.
You talk about a fixture. You talk about 2 spots in the lineup you never had to worry about if you were Sparky Anderson. You know, who's playing short today? Alan Trammell. Who's playing second? Lou Whitaker. Every day.
On that great '84 Tiger team, Kirk Gibson and everybody. CO down on Greinke 0-2.
I don't know Lou Whitaker well, but his nickname was Sweet Lou, so I have to assume he was a real nice guy. And we know Alan Trammell was one of the best baseball guys, one of the best guys you'll ever want to meet.
Just an absolute joy to talk to.
Yep.
And a great player. They were both great players. CO at 242. He's got 4 homers. Greinke strikes him out. 3rd strikeout for Zach Greinke. 1 down in the 3rd.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Besides his outstanding command, Zach Greinke just one of those guys, you hear it said about a lot of pitchers, he has a good feel for pitching. He knows when to try to add a little bit, when to take a little bit off. He'll change speeds, especially on his breaking balls. He can cruise through the early part of the game and keep one pitch in his back pocket for the 2nd and 3rd time through the lineup. He really just has a full arsenal out there and knows how to use it.
Nick Ahmed now. Nick 224 and 9 home runs. 0 for 2 with a walk and a sac fly RBI last night. And that coming off his 4 for 4 on Friday. And he had 2 doubles, a homer, and was a triple shy of the cycle. Corey Seager at shortstop. 2 outs.
We mentioned the National League Cy Young race, and certainly there's more than just these 2 guys, but you would have to consider these 2 the front runners for the National League Cy Young, both putting up just ridiculously good numbers. I think maybe Arrieta might get a little groundswell of support because it's the Cubs.
Everybody loves what they're doing out there. There's no question. The media is all over that narrative. But you know, it's funny. Greinke's win total is down. It should be a lot higher. Here's Patrick Corbin. Greinke had 1 stretch earlier this year, during which he went 6 consecutive starts without allowing a run. 43 and 2/3 scoreless innings. And that for him was part of another bizarre stretch. He had a 9-game stretch earlier this year, during which his ERA was 1.79, but he did not win a game. That's almost impossible.
It really is.
So you look at the win total and you go, you know, 16 wins. It should be a whole lot higher.
And I mentioned in the open of the show, you go back to the end of what month would that be? August, June. End of June. Had a 4-game winning streak and then a no decision. Then another 4-game winning streak and then a loss when he actually pitched really well. And right now working on a 3-game winning streak.
He's behind on Patrick Corbin. 3 balls and a strike. I mean, can you imagine having a 1.79 ERA over 9 consecutive starts, but getting 0 wins in that span? On a division leader, it's not like he's pitching, you know, for Sisters of the Poor here. And maybe the best news for Greinke is at the end of this, he will be able to, and likely will, opt out of his current contract and hit the free agent market. Corbin belts it to center. Peterson is there. Diamondbacks still without a hit through 3. They trail it 2-0.
they could have back, as the play had serious implications on the game as Seager homered on the very next pitch. Peralta, known for his hustle and never letting out, visibly upset to not have a chance to make a play at that ball last night. But after the game and today, David quick to say he doesn't blame the fan. As a fan of the game himself, he said in that situation, ball coming your way, yeah, you're going to go for it. But Peralta and Chip, echoing those same thoughts today, said you got to go out there and play games in such a way that one play doesn't make or break the outcome.
A Bartman moment here at the ballpark last night. Set for the top of the 4th inning. Chip Hale's D-backs trail the Dodgers 2-0. Cardinals right now beating up on the Saints. Who that team gonna beat them Saints? It's Arizona. It's 14-3 Cardinals midway through the 2nd quarter. We'll keep you posted on that. Just keep it right here. I tell you, I've seen a big change, Bob, in the governor.
How's that?
Well, the governor, for the first year in quite some time, got in the old fantasy league this year. We had our draft last week. And the governor's got, well, he's got about 8 games going on over there, NFL-wise, watching all his guys. And Candy is still doing a mock draft, as he always does. So football on the brain today. A.J. Ellis. Fly ball right center. A.J. Ellis. The name of his team is Gubs Guys, which I thought was a great name.
Oh, must have sat up nights thinking of that.
Now see, there's me. He's got the TV right there. He's watching about 4 football games.
Yeah, I can see the Gubs monitor from my angle here.
Watch the football. I think he just blew me off.
Again.
Yeah, I know. Jock Peterson. That's how I knew the score of the Cardinal game. I just looked over at the governor's monitor. He's got the whole DirecTV thing going over there.
It's kind of surprising. It's kind of a wild card, huh?
I like football as much as the next guy, but for me, football season doesn't start until baseball is done.
He just changed it for the ball game.
Oh, he's too late. He's busted.
He is. Peterson singled his first time up. There's that swing, and he's getting a lot of heat, Jock Peterson, for swinging like that all the time.
I mentioned it last night. I asked Rick Monday, the radio announcer for the Dodgers, about Jock Peterson. I said, what's going on? He says every swing he takes is like the last swing of a home run derby.
Just like that. Well, you know, Larry Anderson, the former longtime big league pitcher, now a Phillies broadcaster. Larry Anderson created a little bit of news in L.A. last month. He said that Peterson was being selfish at the plate. That's a little bit much, it seems like, but Anderson was saying that it's just a case of a young, selfish, very selfish player, in his words, who wants to hit home runs all the time. And they went to Peterson, of course, and said, what do you think about this? And he said, who's Larry Anderson? Yeah. As the generations move on, here's Zach Greinke. But when you look at him swing, it does look like he's either thinking walk or homer.
Or strikeout.
And he's 3rd in the National League in strikeouts.
Now, the history of this great game is filled with guys who burst upon the scene, and this guy's going to be a superstar for 15 years. And then the league makes that adjustment, and the counter adjustment doesn't come quite as easily as you expect it to. I'm not saying that's the case with Jock Peterson, but there have been a lot of guys that burst on the scene and put up great numbers, and superstardom was predicted and never to be heard from again.
I always think of, when that comes up, Super Joe Charbonneau.
That's a great one.
In Cleveland. A slow hopper over the mound. Ahmed can't make the bare hand grab. It rolls into center, and Greinke's aboard with a 2-out single. I mean, Joe Charbonneau was an instant cult figure in Cleveland, late 70s, and had one good year, and that was it.
Huge cult figure in Cleveland. Used to open beer bottles with his eye socket. I mean, he was a great player on the field, but his superstardom was very short-lived. I think of Jerome Walton in Chicago, Rookie of the Year, and never really got anywhere in the remote neighborhood of those numbers ever again in his career.
Justin Ruggiano doubled and scored to lead off the ball game. Struck out his last time up. Joe Charbonneau, 1980 Indians, a 25-year-old rookie, was American League Rookie of the Year. Hit .289, 23 home runs, drove in 87 runs, and then after that played in 70 major league games. Peralta won't get there. Ruggiano 2 for 3. So he was Rookie of the Year in 1980, Joe Charbonneau. Played 70 more games, and that was it.
Second baseman, Jose Peraza.
They were writing songs about him and everything. Jose Peraza now, the second baseman. Patrick has had traffic around him on the bases throughout the ballgame, right from the first batter when Ruggiano had the leadoff double. Peraza 0 for 2, 0 for 1. He had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. That's in the sixth. Speaking of the NFL and the football and the Cardinals and the whole thing, today Cardinals OT is back on Fox Sports Arizona. All the highlights and analysis after their game against the Saints. Coverage begins today right after Diamondbacks live post-game show. And it replays again tonight at 10 only on Fox Sports Arizona. Right center. Ender coming in. Once again, Patrick strands some Dodger base runners, keeps it a 2-0 ball game. Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. The Sunday spread here at Chase Field. Always good any day of the week. D-backs trail the Dodgers 2-0, set for the home half of the fourth, looking for their first base hit against Zach Greinke, who has walked one. He's got 3 strikeouts, and A.J. Pollock leads it off. A.J. grounded out his first time up. A.J. 2 for 10 in the series. He doubled in last night's ball game. Slow bouncer to third. Turner on the short hop, and he's got it. And Greinke has retired 5 in a row.
Especially third baseman, but all infielders, they look for that short hop where they can charge and just kind of smother the ball so it doesn't have a chance to take a bad hop.
Here's Ender. Grounded out to Turner his first time up. Ender's got 8 hits in his last 3 games.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com. Looked like Ender was trying to ask for time out there, but it was too late in the delivery. Was not granted time by Mark Ripperger, so re-gripped that bat and got ready.
Two and one. Ender since the middle of August hitting over 320. The bat has really come alive here second half. Greinke 40 pitches, 25 strikes. Barraza. He's got the ground ball going. That's 6 in a row retired.
First baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
They got Greinke at 7 ground ball out so far through 3 2/3.
Which is really kind of remarkable when you consider he doesn't really throw a lot of sinkers. He's basically a 4-seam fastball guy. He'll spot it well, especially at the bottom of the zone, and that's basically how he gets his ground balls. Well located fastballs and good breaking pitches.
Goldie struck out his first time. One and one. Talked about Zach Greinke's contract. That's going to become a bigger storyline as you get into October. He can opt out halfway through his current contract. He signed a 6-year, $147 million deal. Watchers say they're not worried about it, but he can exercise his opt-out clause. It was reported last week that according to people close to the team, he's already decided he will do that. If he stays, he'll get $71 million over the next 3 years, but he can probably make twice that amount on the open market. Not easy to walk away from a guaranteed $71 million. But if you figure Greinke, who is 31, he'll be 32 in October. Somebody gives him a 5-year deal for, who knows, 150, something like that. That's not out of the question. Got extra baseballs down there.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Greinke was asked about opting out of his deal when he first showed up in Glendale this spring. He said there's a lot of reasons why he wanted that in there. If you're the player, it's all to your benefit. There's no negative to it. Chance to rethink things halfway through the contract. And he strikes out Goldie for the second time today. Greinke has now got 4 strikeouts. He's retired 7 straight and leads it 2-0. Fancy, New York's finest artisan cheese. By Phoenix International Raceway. Join PIR November 15th for NASCAR. Visit us at phoenixraceway.com and get your tickets now. And by Papa Murphy's. Love at 425 degrees. Now the beautiful desert sky here, home of the great state of Arizona. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 2-0 as we start the fifth. Patrick Corbin and Zach Greinke. Turner so far 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. Dodgers got a run in the first on the Turner RBI single. And Slyke a ground ball RBI in the third. Dodgers have 8 hits so far against Patrick, who's for the most part had to pitch out of trouble all day long. And Patrick was very effective his last time out against the Giants. That was Monday. 6 scoreless innings, but maybe not as smooth. Where the Diamondbacks have seen him in some games where he's just mowed through the opposition. That's what Chip Hale thought anyway. But he was able to avoid any real trouble in that ball game, and for the most part he's done that again today.
Didn't walk anybody in that game against the Giants. Didn't walk anybody in his game against the Rockies before that. That's always a key.
And he strikes out Turner. Third strikeout for Patrick. 1 down in the fifth.
Nice changeup that time from Patrick Corbin. That's probably been the pitch that's taken the longest to come back for him. His fastball command has been good for the most part. His slider at times has been very good, but the changeup's been a little inconsistent. And with more innings and more reps and more times using that pitch, you got to believe it's going to come back to the level it was before.
Adrian Gonzalez 2 for 2. Patrick said after that win last Monday, you know, it feels like he's thrown 200 innings already this year, just being out for 16 months and now getting into it with where he is in his innings count this year. His previous 3 starts have been the first time all year that he's gone at least 6 full innings in 3 consecutive starts. And he's ahead of Gonzalez 0-2. He threw 85 pitches in that start. His high for the season is 91. That came in his win at Atlanta August 15th, which was probably as good as we've seen him all year. Yes, he went, Brian O'Nora. He gets Turner and Gonzalez to open up the fifth.
Adrian Gonzalez did not think so. Looked like the barrel got out there, and then Gonzalez kind of waved him off after Brian O'Nora punched him out from third base.
4 strikeouts for Patrick, 2 down. Scott Van Slyke down. Van Slyke 0 for 2, drove in a run in the third on a fielder's choice. And he's 0 for 7 in the series. There's Patrick Corbin going deeper into the ball game, getting more consistent, all part of the road back from Tommy John. Off the fist, Goldie in foul ground, and he runs it down. Hang on there, Paul. A little hop step there, and he's got a bit of a hitch in his giddy up. Check the footing right on that plant. Right there. Limping off the field a little bit.
Yes, there were. That's the third out of the inning. Come on in. He came back to the dugout, gathered his equipment on the bench, and immediately went down the steps at the end of the dugout. Hopefully nothing serious.
David Peralta leads off the fifth. D-backs still looking for their first base hit against Zach Greinke. Peralta struck out looking his first time. And Seager has it behind the bag. 8 in a row retired by Greinke.
Defensive change for Los Angeles in this inning. Now at second base, number 59.
A broken bat floater looked like it might get over the head of Corey Seager into center field. We've been talking about how he's big for a shortstop. Made that an easy play for him.
There's Salty. Salty walked his first time up. Reyes is checked into the ball game for the Dodgers at second base. That's Justin Turner, the third baseman, with the shift on. Reyes is out in short right. He replaces Peraza. High fly ball, deep left center. It's off the base of the wall. Salty takes the turn and heads for second. He's in there with a one-out double. And the D-backs finally get in the hit column against Greinke.
Salty stays right on that fastball, outer third of the plate, drives it toward that gap in left center field. Now, we've talked about Jared Saltalamacchia and how tough it is with irregular playing time to consistently put together good at bats, but that's what he's been able to do in the second half of the season. Doesn't always result in a base hit. Sometimes it's a base on ball. Sometimes it's just a long at bat, forcing that opposing pitcher to work hard to get him out. That time a double for the first hit of the game for the D-backs.
He's in scoring position with one out for Jake Lamb. Jake hit into a double play his first time. Jake 1 for 4 with a single and a walk last night. He scored a run. 1 for 5 in the series. Can't hold up there. He's down 0-2.
Greinke reaching a little deeper into his bag of tricks with the runner in scoring position. So the slow curveball to start the sequence. Really good straight changeup right there. With runners on base, he tends to go more to his secondary stuff. The curveball, slider, changeup.
Got him. 5 strikeouts for Greinke, 2 down.
Wicked slider. Down and in right under the hands of Jake Lamb. Looked like it was going to be a strike on that lower inside part of the plate. Just fell off the zone.
Chris Owings, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Deadly efficient.
About as consistent as you can possibly get.
57 pitches, 37 strikes. Chris Owings last 11 games hitting better than 340. He's got 4 extra base hits over that span. He's got 3 hits in the series. Salty at second, 2 outs. Must be tough for a skipper in the dugout when your team's up there against a guy who is among the elite. You could roll out 2 of them there every week, so I guess you could empathize.
Yeah, when you're on the other side of the coin, though, it's not so much fun. Yeah, you just hope to get a base runner, so maybe you can do something, start a runner, open up holes defensively in the infield, play hit and run. You get the right guy on, maybe try to steal a base and get a guy into scoring position. We just know that Greinke's not going to give up a lot. You're going to have to really work hard for every base runner and every run you get.
Strikes him out on the 2-2. 6 strikeout for Greinke, who strands the 1-out double and keeps it 2-0. We'll take on Diamondbacks. First of 3. Coverage of that series begins tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Diamondback Live pregame show only right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Let's go D-backs. Got to get something going here. Patrick Corbin back out there to start the 6th against Corey Seager, A.J. Ellis, and John Peterson. 6, 7, and 8 for Los Angeles. They have out-hit the Diamondbacks 8-1. They lead it 2-0. Patrick so far 2 runs on 8 hits. He has not walked a batter. He's got 4 strikeouts. Seager remarkably 0 for 2. Wasting no time. That's a fair ball. And Goldie certainly looks to be moving okay, coming off that little ankle tweak. 5 in a row set down by Corbin. That's good to see.
Corey Seager with a tapper back to the mound to start his day, and then 2, 3 unassists at first base. The world is tipped on its axis, I guess. I don't know. Boy, Seager looked like he was never going to make an out in the first 2 games of this series.
Reached base safely in all 9 plate appearances Friday and Saturday, but 0 for 3 so far today. The tide is turning. Here's A.J. Ellis. Although he'll probably have a few more hits by the time he's done. Ellis is twice flat out. He's 0 for 2. 0 for 6 in the series. Sky high, short right center field. Owings is out there. Ender calls him off. 2 outs. Patrick, probably, if you can get a quick out here against Peterson. Well, they want to get him into the 90s. It's been funny that the pitch count ends at 85-ish after 6, and Chip says, well, we'd like to get him to 90 something, but if they send him back out there, he's kind of in between. So they've really been pulling the plug at 6 innings. But maybe a quick out here, and you're thinking about the 7th.
And one of the issues would be that Patrick Corbin is due up second in the bottom half of this inning, and depending on what happens with Nick Ahmed in the leadoff spot in the bottom half of the inning, you might have to pull the plug, send a pinch hitter up there, but we'll see how Chip wants to play it. When you have guys coming back from an injury like Patrick Corbin, and there are certain pitch counts you like to get, certain mile markers you like to hit, and when you do pull the plug early, you can always send the guy down to the bullpen. Throw an extra couple of innings down there, throw an extra 20 pitches in the bullpen just to get the arm in the condition you hope that it will be in by the end of the season.
Well, I don't think, Bob, that Jock Peterson's feet are on the ground when he swings. Randall Delgado, Sanderson Ford bullpen. He has taken some wild hacks up there. He's off that one. It's 2-2.
That's probably why he started the season as the leadoff hitter and now finds himself in the 8-hole.
3rd in the league in strikeouts. It's been a struggle to make consistent contact, although he had 3 hits last night. This one right into the shift. Owings is there from the outfield grass, and that's 7 straight retired by Patrick Corbin. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Nick Ahmed, who has a home run in this series, leads off the Diamondbacks 6th. For Patrick Corbin, it looks like it'll be 4 consecutive starts in which he's gone at least 6 innings. Patrick's day is apparently done. Socrates Brito is in the on-deck circle. Pitch to spot 2 up second. And so a good finish for Patrick, who retired the last 7 he faced. 2 runs, 8 hits, no walks. He had 4 strikeouts. 7 of the 8 hits he gave up were singles. Just the Ruggiano double to lead off the ball game. Nick rounded out his first time up. He's had a great September. He's batting .400 this month, Nick Ahmed. 4 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers. In the hole, Seager. Boy, he gets to just about everything over there. A base hit for Nick Ahmed, leadoff single.
Seager showing his range, but with Nick Ahmed's speed, this is one you might as well stick in your pocket right there. The fadeaway throw from deep in the hole is short. Adrian Gonzalez concedes it over there at first base, coming off the bag to take the throw.
Just the second hit for the Diamondbacks. And now Socrates Brito will hit for Patrick Corbin. Chip Hale using the Socratic method here. Brito 2 for 5, couple of singles to begin his major league career. High bouncer over the mound. They can't turn the double play. Torreyes had a chance to turn it. The new second baseman got a foot on the bag to get the force on Ahmed, but Brito, with that speed, beats it out. Here's Ronald Torreyes, who checked in midway through for Peraza at second.
A.J. Pollock.
Guess who's up next?
Nice.
It's like that guy on PBS in the mornings who do the like chalk watercolor things. The guy with the
Bob Ross
with the funny hair. Base hit. Pollock shoots it into right field. Brito stops at second. D-backs have their first real threat going here against Greinke. Did you pull that name out of your bag?
I was a big Bob Ross. Still am. I love to watch that. It's very weird.
Yeah, he'd stand up next to the easel and he just kind of watch him make a picture.
Happy tree. Very relaxing. All right. And by the end of a half-hour show, he starts with a blank canvas and you end up with a beautiful piece of wall art
that you can buy on the side of the road for $8. Ender Inciarte over 2, a couple of ground outs. Good speed on the bases. Brito at second, Pollock at first. Torreyes got to charge it. Runners move up, 2 outs. So here you go, second and third, 2 down, first base open, and it's Goldie. Goldie 0 for 2. He has struck out twice against Zach Greinke. In fact, just about half his career at bats against Greinke have ended in strikeouts. I wonder if that changes the plan at all. He's got my vote. Conversation with Ellis and Greinke on the mound is done. Let's see what they want to do here. 2 down, first base open. Baxter stealing a Dodger cap. Nicely done. Behind on that fastball, 0-1. line there for a strike. 1-2. Base hit here will tie the ball game. Big spot. Greinke at 70 pitches. 46 strikes. 1-2 on Goldie. Rito at third. Pollock at second. Can't get him to bite. He holds up. It's even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They are going after Goldie here with first base open and Peralta on deck. See Ellis going through a whole sequence of signs for Greinke there. They had a mini meeting on the mound prior to the Goldie at bat. Two-two pitch. Got him. Greinke strikes out Goldie for the 3rd time today. They strand 2. It's still 2-0 Dodgers.
Salty, Tuffy, nobody knows, including the skip. Chip is proud that the team started with one group behind the dish and is finishing with an entirely different group, yet never skipped a beat. But he said this winter and spring, the brain trust, if you will have some very difficult decisions to make. Will they go after someone new or rely on Tuffy for all that he did early with his staff, or ride Salty's consistent bat, or look to Wellington for the composure he brings? So many options. Guys, it makes you wonder, is catching really that easy of a position? Ha ha ha, I kid.
Your thoughts?
Well, I think we can get Kate some catcher's gear and send her down to the bullpen, let her catch some side sessions and block some balls in the dirt and get her opinion about catching.
Randall Delgado.
Tell you what, though, really has been remarkable to think that we started the season with one group of catchers and now finishing with a completely different group. We saw the evolution of Jared Saltalamacchia and Wellington Castillo, as it took them a while to get up to speed with his new pitching staff. Nice to have options at that position.
I tell you, Salty has been a very valuable acquisition. He has really done a good job as an everyday catcher at times, primarily the backup catcher, an excellent bat off the bench. He can play some first base. He switch hits. He's really fit in well here.
There have been a few games when Salty's been back there behind the plate where the rest of the lineup had some relatively quick at bats, 2, 3, 4 pitch at bats, and all of a sudden here comes Jared Saltalamacchia, and the opposing pitcher's forced to throw 9 or 10 pitches to get through the at bat. Yeah, the idea is to get an entire lineup of guys who will make the opposing pitcher work that hard, but Jared just seems to have that knack. He knows his own strike zone, doesn't always get good results as far as hits, but always gives you a good at bat.
Not so much in this case for Zach Greinke as Delgado strikes him out. Well, Salty today, a walk and a double, and he had a very tumultuous first half of the year. The Marlins let him go. He was kind of out there a little bit. And then signed with the Diamondbacks. He was in Reno a week and a half or so, and then came up to the Diamondbacks. Homered from both sides of the plate in the Giants series. But since the All-Star break, now that he's had a chance to settle in, I mean, he's hitting about 270 since the All-Star break with 5 home runs. Justin Ruggiano, the scheduled hitter, and they're going to go to the bench now and send Schebler up there. Scott Schebler hits for Ruggiano, and the replacement second baseman for Peraza, Ronald Torreyes, is on deck. Torreyes, just a little guy, 5'10", 150. They just picked him up from the Astros. Schebler 0 for 4 in the series. He's only had 8 big league games. 278 and 2 home runs.
Now this is what happens in September. Number 59 batting second for the Dodgers. We don't have his name in the system quite yet.
He wasn't on the program. He's not even in the system. He hasn't played a game in their organization. Forget about a major league game, Ronald Torreyes. He's played for 4 teams this year, 3 organizations: the Astros, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. And he's in there at second base and on deck. 3-2 on Scott Schebler. Expect that in spring training, not on September 13th. To first. Oh, what a play by Goldie. Just reaches that big paw out there and snags it.
A little like that play at third base earlier in the game by Justin Turner. You see that hop, you want to get in there and smother it so it doesn't have a chance to hit a clump of dirt and bounce over your shoulder, or hit a soft spot and stay down and go under your glove. Come in and smother it on that short hop, turn it into an easy play.
Well, the right hand hitting Ronald Torreyes, the new second baseman. He's almost as tall standing as Salty is sitting down. In fact, I think when Salty crouches, he's almost got him. From Venezuela, Ronald Torreyes. Talk about a crazy journey. This appears to be his first major league at bat. He's played for 4 teams this year. He's been in Tulsa. He's been in New Hampshire. He's been in Fresno. He's been in Oklahoma City, and now he's here. His major league debut. And he's got a base hit down the left field line. By a diving Jake Lamb, Torreyes will stop at second base. Double in his first career at bat in the big leagues.
Third baseman Justin Turner.
You see a lot of that in the month of September. A lot of balls getting thrown out of play. First strikeout, first base hit, first RBI, first home run, whatever it may be. Congratulations to Ronald Torreyes. Don't do it again.
He's in second with 2 outs for Justin Turner. Turner 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He struck out his last time up. Two 2-0. Ronald Torreyes, first big league hit.
Belt high fastball inside corner, pulls it just past Jake Lamb down into that left field corner.
I wonder how tough it would be to push changing the September expansion roster rule through the players union, because they got to do something.
Yeah,
it's just out of control.
There has to be something, some kind of a compromise.
You can have as many as you want up here, but you can only designate 25 every day. Some healthy scratches like in hockey, whatever you want. But, I mean, it's like everybody's waiting for a bus down there. As you play the most critical month of the season with a whole different set of rules. Makes no sense.
No sense at all. Heard different proposals. I mean, you think about a 5-man rotation, the other 4 starters on a given day, you could put them on the temporarily inactive list and replace them with 4 players that you have called up from the minor leagues.
That one gets by Salty, rolls all the way to the D-back dugout. Torreyes thinks about coming home. But Salty really had to hustle to get over there and pick that up. That was, gosh, a good 40, 50 feet away from home plate.
Yeah, that one just shot off of Jared Saltalamacchia over to the left side, and Torreyes, big turnaround third right there. But Salty with a slide, grabbed that ball with his bare hand. He was ready to fire home.
Here comes Chip Hale. You might want to walk Turner here and go bring in the lefty. That's what apparently he's going to do. Keith Hessler coming in back after this. Brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. Back at Chase Field, D-backs trail the Dodgers 2-0 with 2 outs in the 7th. LA with a threat going here. They've got Torreyes at third, Turner at first. Adrian Gonzalez steps in, so here's the lefty Keith Hessler from the Diamondback bullpen. Gonzalez 2 for 3, a pair of singles today. Hessler charged with keeping this a 2-0 deficit. And there's a strike 0-1. Base hit. Torreyes scores, 3-0 LA.
such a smart hitter, and he should be with the experience he's had at the major league level. But you bring a lefty in out of the bullpen, he's looking to shoot the ball to the opposite field, especially with runners in scoring position. Had a breaking ball out over the plate and down a little bit from Keith Hessler. Just stayed right on it, flipped it into left field for an RBI hit.
And now Hessler will work to the right hand, hitting Scott Van Slank. Just inside, 1-0. Runners move up. Turner to third, Gonzalez to second. And now a single scores 2 runs.
Almost looked like it went behind Van Slyke. It did.
Mike Harkey. Hey fans, now's the time. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Just remember, use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. That's AZDataStrongFan on the hashtag with the Twitter and the whole thing, and you just might see your fan photo on our Diamondback TV broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. Silvino Bracho, the right-hander, warming up at the Sanderson Ford bullpen. You got the left-hand hitting Corey Seager on deck, first base open, so they will walk Van Slyke and work to Seager. So here's Corey Seager, the 21-year-old shortstop. 5 hits, 4 walks, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored in the series in the first 2 games, but today 0 for 3. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Ball 1. Seager has played a total of just 9 major league games, but so far he's hit safely in 8 of those games, including the last 6 in a row. There's a strike, 1-1. 9 big league games coming into today. 14 hits, 6 of them for extra bases. He's also walked 7 times. All since he made his major league debut September 3rd. Deep left center field. A.J. Pollock has got room. Hessler leaves them loaded, but the Dodgers get one more. D-backs down 3-0. That was the Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. Stretch time here, Chase Field. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 3-0. So far, Zach Greinke working on a 3-hit shutout. He has been, as you would expect, outstanding. A walk and 7 strikeouts.
3 hits allowed in the ball game. Really, only one of them struck well. Jared Saltalamacchia's double to left center back in that 5th inning was hit really well. But other than that, a couple of ground balls that found holes. An infield hit by Nick Ahmed. Just haven't been able to make solid contact against Greinke this afternoon.
Scott Schebler, who hit for Justin Ruggiano, remains in the ball game. He'll take over in left field. Diamondbacks still with a chance to win this series. But they've got some work to do here and running out of time, down 3-0 as we start the home half of the 7th. Peralta, Saltalamacchia, Lamb due up 4, 5, and 6. So far, David 0 for 2. Peralta begins the game today with a 9-game hitting streak. He's got 11 hits in his last 9 games. He's ahead 1-0. David has hit safely in 17 of his last 19 games. During that stretch, he's hit about 360. One of the best hitters in the league in the second half of the year. 2-0 pitch. Chop to second to Reyes. The ground ball out for Greinke, 1 down.
Catcher, Saltalamacchia.
Well, Salty's been leading the offensive charge for the Diamondbacks. So far, a walk and a double. You can't buy a vowel. You can buy his jersey, however. Authenticated game-used items on sale here at Chase Field. Jerseys, helmets, bats, balls, dirt. Whatever you need.
It's been a long time since I've written Jared's entire name on a lineup card. Usually I just put Salty. It's a lot easier, a lot quicker, and there's plenty of room for Salty.
Well, there's plenty of room on the left-hand side. The Dodgers have the shift on. There you go. I always force myself to write it out, so after a while I'll be able to do it. You never know when you're going to need to do it. I have a great sympathy for guys with long and confusing last names. Wait, what?
What?
2-1. I mean, Dennis Lamb, he coasted through life.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is that?
Well, it took him 18 years to figure out how to spell it.
Fair point. And Salty, for whatever reason, seems to have Greinke's number here today. He's ahead 3-1. He's already walked once. Don't get dizzy. It goes up all the way behind one shoulder blade, down behind the other one. Hold on there, Salty. I would think that at one point he'd pull a Vita Blue. You know how Vita, when he pitched for the Giants, just had Vita on the back. Not that Blue was real long, but you could just put Salty back there, couldn't you?
Sure.
3-2. Keeping Torres busy over there. Comes in from the outfield grass and throws him out. Go down on the farm. Time for our State Farm Farm Report of the ball game. You have been closely following the Hops because you're all hopped up in that Northwest League final.
Couple games tonight. They play Tri-Cities this evening. Clincher. The Rawhide. Visalia, I believe, play tonight also.
J.R. House, Roll Hyde.
So dial them up. Go on the internet. You can listen to those games. I'm not sure if either one of them are actually televised. Sometimes they have closed circuit cameras. Sometimes they actually have 4 or 5 cameras at the ballpark. But at worst, get a chance to hear the radio broadcast.
Jake Lamb. Corey Seager. Well, 3 ground ball outs in the inning for Zach Greinke, who is rolling along with a 3-hit shutout. Budweiser. The first 10,000 fans get this Los D-backs soccer jersey, courtesy of Pepsi. And then after the game, fans can stick around for a free concert featuring Latin recording artist Luis Coronel. It's presented by Sprint and Samsung. You can call for tickets 602-514-8400 or just visit dbacks.com. Keith Hessler back out there. Diamondbacks running out of time here. They trail the Dodgers 3-0. There's the Los D-backs.
Leading off for Los Angeles, catcher E.J. Ellis.
The Sandlot, sponsored by Phoenix Children's Hospital here at the ballpark. All kinds of things to do on a Sunday afternoon at the Diamondback game.
Good place to burn off some of that cotton candy energy before you take the kids home.
You can sleep in the car. A.J. Ellis 0 for 3 leads off the Dodger 8th against Keith Hessler. Ellis so far hitless in the series. A.J. Ellis was kind of on the way out. He hit a .191 last year. Had bad knees. They went out and got Yasmani Grandal. Ellis was, after being the main guy for 3 seasons, relegated to backup duty, not playing very much at all. But now that whole dynamic has changed. Grandal is really banged up. He's in a terrible slump, and Ellis is playing a lot more often. And you'd have to think, with the way that Grandal is slumping, Ellis will be the primary guy in the postseason behind the plate. Fly ball, right center field. A.J. Pollock in the corner. He's got Rollins. Gone. And A.J. is hard into that wall. He looked like he was about to leap up into that wall and try and get it, but instead he hit it flush, and it's gone for Ellis. His 5th home run, 4-0. Well, A.J. is a little shaken up right now. He hit that wall hard.
Oof. That kind of snuck up on him a little quicker than he thought right there. That little corner nook cranny out there at the 413 mark. I think he thought he had one more step before he got to the wall, but man, did he hit that thing hard.
You know, he kind of, I think you're right, Bob, he lost track of it because he kind of jumped up into the wall, maybe thinking he had more room. Jock Peterson. Peterson singled in the second. He's 1 for 3. Hesslers come in, gave up an RBI single to Gonzalez. Walkman-like intentionally. Got Seager on a deep fly ball with the bases loaded to win the 7th. And now a homer by Ellis to lead off the 8th. Silvino Bracho still throwing in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. A ball and a strike to Peterson. 1-2.
Oh, double hit the bat. Hey, that double hit the bat.
See what they call here.
That was a double to thud.
Yeah. No signal from Mark Ripperger behind the plate. Mattingly wants them to get together. Here comes Alan Porter in from second base. This is one of those calls where you have replay. Give the umpire a break. This is impossible. Might have hit it twice.
Hit the ground, came back up, and as he was finishing his follow through, he hit it a second time.
Ryan Honora, the crew chief, there in the middle. So it's a foul ball.
Kind of funny, Alan Porter comes in from 175 feet away to help make that call when he was right on top of the fan interference yesterday and blew that one. Must be farsighted.
And Peterson ends up striking out second time today. This was the Bartman moment last night.
Yeah, really the only question is, could David Peralta have caught the ball? And it certainly seemed to me like his glove was right underneath the gentleman who reached out onto the field to make the catch. And Alan Porter was at that time standing only probably less than 10 feet away from that play, but no fan interference call.
And again, all boundary calls, home runs, ground rule doubles, fan interference are subject to review. So in defense of the umpires, Diamondbacks could have gone out there and requested or in fact insisted on some kind of replay using a challenge or just getting a crew chief review. But they didn't do that. And David said he understands any fan with a glove that's near the field is going to try and make the play, so no hard feelings, but he was upset at the moment there. First of 3 against the Padres tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6. Jeremy Hellickson back from the DL. Will take on James Shields. One and 2 on Greinke. Another big crowd here today. 36,501. Greinke waves at that one. So back-to-back strikeouts for Hessler. It's been quite a weekend here. A tremendous turnout by all the Diamondback fans. We have some Dodger Blue people as well, but the 3-game total, BB, for this series, attendance-wise, 114,633. So a great weekend here at the ballpark.
Nicely done, fans.
That is one of the higher September weekend total attendance marks the Diamondbacks have had the last few years. Here's Scott Schebler.
Well, I got to admit, I like the Dodger fans a lot better Friday than I do today or last night.
They've been pretty well behaved.
A very quiet Friday night. That's the way we like Dodger fans.
It was nice.
Quiet.
Oh, and 2. Well, the Dodgers are taking some bad cuts here at Hessler. He has them fooled or off balance, really not picking up the ball pretty well. They put some bad swings on his pitches here in this inning, with the exception of Ellis's leadoff homer. first. Eslicora's got to hurry. And they just do beat Schebler to the bag. When Ellis homers his 5th of the year, Dodgers add another run. They lead it 4-0.
The post-game show, we'll go to the starting pitching matchup. It came as advertised, didn't it?
Oh, it absolutely did. And Zach Greinke, he came as advertised. I'll show you how he was able to keep the Arizona Diamondbacks at bay.
All right, we're coming up right after the last out. As always, Steve and Bob will send it back to you. We'll be here for Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show, when this game concludes.
Thank you, guys. Chris Owings leads it off here in the 8th inning. Now 4-0 LA. CO 0 for 2. He struck out twice. And as Joe Borowski mentioned, Greinke has been as advertised here today, leading the majors in ERA. Greinke has pitched at least 6 innings in every start this year. And he's allowed 1 or fewer runs in 19 of his 28 starts. So this one really is according to the script.
Well, anytime you face one of the better pitchers in the game, you tell yourself we need to take advantage of every mistake, but you could probably count on one hand the number of quote-unquote mistakes that Greinke's made today. He's hit his spots from the very first pitch of the game and continues to hit his spots, and when he does miss, he usually misses in his favor.
He's given up just 3 hits. He's walked 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. Up behind on Owings, 3-1. Greinke has won his last 3 starts. He's coming off a win at Anaheim his previous time out. That was last Monday. 11-1 over his last 15 starts. His ERA in that span is 1.46. In fact, his only loss since June 13th came 4 starts ago. That was at Houston. And in that loss, he went 7 innings and gave up only 3 hits. 2 of them were home runs. Three and 2 on CO. Need some base runners. There you go. A leadoff walk. As advertised, fans, let's take a look at the Data Strong Fan photo on the Twitter with the hashtag of the whole thing. AZ Data Strong Fan. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Kevin.
Gonzo home plate with the World Series logo in the background there.
Second walk issued by Greinke today. And here's Nick Ahmed. Pitcher spot is Due up after Nick. Looks like Peter O'Brien down there in the on-deck circle. Here's Pete. So far, 2 major league at bats, 2 RBI singles. Off to a good start.
Greinke and Kershaw, not the first Dodger duo to put up the kind of numbers that they are this season. Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale back in 1964. Pretty sparkling right there, but believe it or not, the ERA right now actually lower for Kershaw and Greinke.
Now, the only thing we need to have those guys do that the other guys did was go out on strike together. Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale, they weren't happy with their contract offers, so they staged a little 2-man strike, a work stoppage, until they got better deals. Here's Peter O'Brien. I don't think those guys are going to be hurting for cash, though.
I don't think so.
So that probably won't work. Greinke's going to get a whole lot more this winter. O'Brien down 0-2, bullpen busy. Luis Avila, the lefty, and Chris Hatcher, the righty. So both those guys last night. Tom Mattingly used 8 pitchers in the ball game yesterday to get a 9-5 win. O'Brien strikes out. 8 strikeouts for Greinke, who's working on a 3-hit shutout. As we get set for the 9th inning here at Chase Field, Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 4-0. Hey fans, keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. You can watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, a pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Every game, every device, the whole thing, MLB.TV today. 9th inning, and here's the rookie right-hander. Give it up for Silvino Bracho.
8 punch-outs in 5 1/3 innings. Worked over his 6 appearances so far for Bracho.
And a terrific year pitching for Robbie Hammock at AA Mobile. The Mobile Bay Bears in the Southern League. Bracho 37 appearances, 16 saves, and a 1.81 ERA in AA this year. Torreyes, the second baseman, leads off the LA ninth. And Silvino Bracho has his work cut out for him here. Turner and Gonzalez coming up after this. Reyes, this is only his second major league at bat. Doubled and scored a run in his first ever big league plate appearance. That was back in the 7th. Sky high pop up first base side. Goldie. Reyes in there for Peraza at second base. Peraza, the victim of our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Back in the 3rd. Patrick Corbin.
Nice backhanded shovel toss on to Goldie. The only play he could possibly make to get the out at first base right there, and he does it perfect.
There's Justin Turner, who's had a big day. 2 singles and a walk. He's got an RBI, a stolen base, and he scored a run. Diamondbacks in the home half of the 9th will have the top of the order. Pollock, Inciarte, Goldie. Oh, 1. Gonzalez on deck. Zach Greinke's last shutout was 2013. He's got 1 complete game this year. See if he comes back out for the bottom of the 9th. Greinke's had 4 career shutouts. 3 of them came in 2009 when he won a Cy Young in Kansas City. Silvino Bracho blows Turner away. 2 down.
Bracho is one of those pitchers whose fastball plays faster than it reads on the radar gun. That last one at 93, which is very respectable, but if you talk to Justin Turner right now, he'd guess it was probably 97 or 98.
So what causes that effect?
Yeah, just a little bit of deception in his delivery. He's got a little bit of herky-jerky, and then he's really fast with his arm once he makes that stride toward home plate and commits to the pitch.
Adrian Gonzalez, 3 for 4, 3 hits, all singles. Shift is on with 2 outs here in the 9th.
It's a dangerous at bat. You got a veteran hitter in Adrian Gonzalez, a very accomplished veteran hitter in Adrian Gonzalez. We mentioned in his last at bat an RBI single back in the 7th. He took a breaking ball the opposite way against a left-handed pitcher. Facing a young, hard-throwing rookie, he's going to look fastball middle in and try to hit it in the pool. I used to love to sit on the bench and listen to Gonzo and Gracie and Steve Finley and some of those guys talk about situations just like this. What's this kid got? Well, he got a good fastball, low to mid-90s, and he likes his fastball a lot. Oh, they love to hear that.
Well, there's a fastball count, 2-1. Ran it away. It's 3 balls and a strike. Well, Don Mattingly talked about that with Gonzalez. He said, you know, this guy plays the game of cat and mouse all the time up there. And he's got a really good understanding of what the opposing pitchers are trying to do to him, what the guy can and cannot do, and he really takes advantage of that. Staying away again here. Adrian Gonzalez aboard for the 4th time, a 2-out walk.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 20 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Back there with the scouts right behind home plate. Radar guns, notebooks, iPads, phones.
Keeping track of their fantasy football leagues.
I bet a lot of them are. Scott Van Slyke intentionally walked his last time up. He's 0 for 3. I am crushing J.J. Putz right now. Just crushing him.
Yeah. Good.
It's a long season. A lot can go wrong. Usually does.
Trying to help the team win.
0-1. You don't do the old fantasy football.
Yeah, like I said, I can't. I have trouble getting into football until baseball is completely done, and you know, by then, deep into the football season, the fantasy drafts have already happened, and
by the time the playoffs are over, football season's halfway done.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing.
Coming at the Gubnut.
Gubnut. Oh,
he didn't flinch. A seasoned veteran right there. Just missed him.
Positioned perfectly though.
As always. Up the middle and into center. A base hit for Van Slyke. So the Dodgers with 2 outs, a walk and a single. Put 2 on for Corey Seager.
Shortstop Corey Seager.
Diamondback Live postgame show. Joe Borowski, Todd Walsh standing by. That follows our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. And don't forget, after that it's Cardinals OT here on the network. All the highlights and analysis from the Cardinals and Saints game right now. Arizona leading 17-16 about midway through the 4th quarter. So Cardinals OT comes up after Diamondback Live postgame show and then replays again tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona. Corey Seager. What a contrast. Diamondbacks did not get him out in the first 2 games, but today he's 0 for 4. In case you're wondering, Corey Seager's older brother is Kyle Seager, the all-star third baseman with Seattle.
No relation to Bob Seager and the Silver Bullet Band.
Working on some night moves.
Down on Main Street. Just hope he doesn't hit one to Kathmandu.
Well, he had his first major league homer in the ball game yesterday off Josh Colminter. Got a 6-game hit streak on the line right here. 2 balls, no strikes. This was Corey Seager last night to lead off the 5th. Right after the Bartman incident.
Barreled it up right down that right field line.
That fastball, sneaky fast, 2-2.
Good location for 2 against Seager. One thing we've seen in this series, he's very quick inside and he's real good on pitches down in the zone. That time 93 up at the top of the strike zone, couldn't quite catch up.
Full count. A.J. Ellis, who homered to lead off the 8th, is on deck. We've got Gonzalez at second, Van Slyke at first, 2 outs. 3-2 on Corey Seager. There go the runners. We'll do it again. A.J. Schugel in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Bracho now over 20 pitches. Runners on the move. 3-2 is fouled off one more time.
It's kind of funny, the contrast in swings. We've been talking about Jock Peterson, and he pulls muscles trying to hit the ball in the upper deck. Seager generates every bit as much power, but with a much more controlled, much more smooth swing. He's not getting cheated by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not swinging so hard that his head is coming off the ball and his body's getting into a bad position. It's just a very controlled, quick bat through the zone.
As opposed to Jock Peterson, who's been swinging wildly this whole series. Well, this guy's been about as highly touted as they come. Corey Seager, from a first-round pick. One more time on 3-2. Here go the runners. All 4 of the bases are loaded. Well, Bracho came in, got a pop-up and a strikeout, but it's gone walk, single, walk. Mike Harkey to the mound. Ellis, who homered his last at bat, coming up. Only has 1 hit in the series. He's 1 for 8, but that was the home run to lead off the 8th. And here he is in the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs. The home run is 5th of the year. Oh, 0-1. Center field. A.J. Pollock. Silvino Bracho leaves them loaded. Bottom 9 coming up. Diamondbacks down 4-0.
choose from full, half, series, or weekend plans. Season ticket holders enjoy unique benefits, access to exclusive events, flexible payment plans, and much, much more. View the 2016 schedule and get tickets online now at dbacks.com or call 602-514-8400.
Well, no shutout today for Zach Greinke. Diamondbacks set for the home half of the ninth, down 4-0. And the closer is on for the Dodgers. We saw him last night, big Kenley Jansen. He worked 1 inning, had 2 strikeouts and a walk, his 47th appearance of the year. He worked at the top of the order. Pollock, Cincinnati, and Goldschmidt 1, 2, and 3 in the Arizona ninth. AJ singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. AJ down 0-2.
A rare non-cutter from Kenley Jansen that time. A little bit of a breaking ball at 83 miles an hour. Got AJ way out in front. That's something you rarely see from the Dodgers closer.
Out of play. Kenley Jansen already over the 30 save mark for the 2nd time in his career. Just the 3rd Dodger reliever ever with back-to-back 30 save seasons. Todd Worrell, Eric Gagne. The other 2.
For 7, the 1 a home run.
One ball and 2 strikes.
He may only throw 1 pitch consistently, but he can use it on both sides of the plate. Occasionally he'll throw it up at the top of the zone. Most of the time Kenley Jansen working across the bottom of the zone.
Away from the cutter again and got the strikeout. Did it twice in that at-bat against Pollock, and both times he got strikes.
I don't think I've seen him throw 2 breaking balls in his life. He throws 2 in the sequence to A.J. Pollock. Gets him to chase the last one for strike 3.
1 away. Here's Ender. Ender and Ciarte 0 for 3. 8 hits in his previous 3 games, but nothing so far here today. Justin Turner will creep in from the 3rd. D-backs looking for base runners here. And Ender pops up the bunt attempt and is behind the screen. Rally caps in place. Oh, and 2. Goldie way down there, almost by the camera well, right where Holly is. He's got the back foot up against that railing. Usually he's a little closer to the on-deck circle. He's sort of moved around back there.
To find that magic spot over there in the on-deck circle.
A lot closer.
And once he finds one and goes up there and has a good at bat and squares the ball up, that's where he will go to for a long time.
Ellis hangs on. Second strikeout for Jansen. And here's Goldie.
He'll elevate that cutter. If he thinks that's the right pitch in the situation. You see everything up in the zone that time, or above the zone, to Ender Inciarte.
Well, Goldie so far today 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Zach Greinke. He faced Jansen in the 9th inning last night, and Jansen struck him out. Looks just like him.
Slider from Kenley Jansen. Right over there. Here's a get me over pitch. Jump ahead in the count. Nobody expects him to throw that pitch first delivery.
Two and one.
Jansen has suddenly become a junk baller out there on the mound.
He's out there just experimenting, it seems like. That's the inside strike call. 2-2.
Gets the call is the right way to put it. Yep. Didn't cut back to the corner the way it was supposed to.
Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. Joe Borowski and Todd Wall standing by. Don't forget to stay tuned also for Cardinals OT right after Diamondback Live. A recap of the Cardinals game against the Saints today. 2-2. It's full. Three-two pitch. Padres in for the first of 3 tomorrow night. All 3 games for you here on Fox Sports Arizona. All 6 o'clock starts for Diamondback Live pregame show. Hellickson and Shields here tomorrow night. Chacin Ross Tuesday. Ray Cashner Wednesday. Ball 4. Well, Goldie third in the major leagues in walks behind only Joey Votto and Bryce Harper. Is avoided with a 2-out walk here in the 9th. And David Peralta will get a crack. So a chance for David here. 0 for 3, trying to extend a 9-game hitting streak. Gonzalez will play well behind the runner at first, guarding the line. Big cut of a high cutter there, 0-1. Peralta struck out against Kenley Jansen last night on just that pitch, in fact. Base hit. Diamondbacks not done yet. And Peralta's now hitting 10 straight.
Right on that inside corner. Boy, you really have to have a quick bat to get that ball barreled up and through that right side with that cutting action so late from Kenley Jansen. But David able to find that hole. The rally live.
Need at least one more base runner. It's Jared Saltalamacchia, who has walked and doubled. He's 1 for 2. Salty 7 home runs this year, 6 of them with the Diamondbacks. He's got Goldie at second, Peralta at first, and 2 outs. Torreyes, the second baseman, playing in a fairly routine alignment, but Torreyes well back there in right field, the second baseman. Sure, Gonzalez is behind Peralta. That one carves foul. A ball and a strike. Long inning for the Dodger closer. Two and one. This Hatch of the right-hander warming up. Out of play. Jake Lamb would be next. Diamondbacks have the tying run on deck, 2 outs. 2-2 on Salty. Missed upstairs, it's a full count. Runners on the move. That is line foul. We were talking about this earlier, Bob. He has got a tremendous knack for these extended at-bats.
He just has a real good knowledge of his own strike zone. We saw Ender Inciarte chase a high cutter. We saw David Peralta chase a high cutter. Jansen tried to start the sequence with one, tried to go back to it in the middle of the at-bat, and Jared wasn't biting.
There it goes, way back, and that ball is gone, a home run. Jared Saltalamacchia, a 3-run homer. That's his 8th, and the Diamondbacks are back within 1. Single and a homer, all with 2 outs.
Oh, man, that cutter down and in. That's Jared Saltalamacchia's happy zone. We've talked about his power from the left side of the plate. That's the pitch he dreams about right there. With that homer, the Diamondbacks catchers lead the National League with 25 home runs this season as a unit.
Don Mattingly is going to go get his closer. He's had Hatcher warming up. Jansen has thrown 28 pitches in this inning. He struck out Pollock and Inciarte. Walked Goldie, the Peralta single, the Salty homer. I'm going to leave him in here.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Jake Lamb had a great at bat, even though he ended the ball game last night against Kenley Jansen. He fouled a cut fastball straight back over the head of the catcher, and then barreled one up to center field, chasing Jock Peterson all the way back to the warning track in center to end the ball game. But it looked like he was seeing the ball really well. Had two good passes to Kenley Jansen.
Jake today 0 for 3. 2 ground balls and a strikeout. 276 and 6 homers.
Another good rip. One down and out over the plate a little bit. You can see A.J. Ellis wanted it inside a little bit more.
The 2 runs the Diamondbacks gave up in the 7th and 8th really looming large right now. The Gonzalez RBI single, the Ellis homer. That one is going to get out of play. And Jansen now working on what will be a 31-pitch 9th inning. He's got nobody on base. He's been using that slider here this inning. This would be the time to look for it, I'm guessing. He can afford to waste a couple here. Tried it right there and missed.
Of course, the danger with that pitch is because he throws it so infrequently, a better chance of making a mistake with that pitch than with his bread and butter cut fastball.
Good take by Jake, 1-2. Elevated the cutter again. Two pitches, 22 strikes. 1-2 on Lamb. Got him. Well, the Diamondbacks tried to mount a comeback down 4-0 in the 9th. They got 3 in the Salty homer. But the Dodgers take the ball game 4-3 and they win the series 2-1. And so LA now goes to 22 games over 500, 82-60. Holding a 7.5 game lead over the Giants for the National League West lead. San Francisco maintains pace. They beat up on the Padres 10-3 the final at AT&T Park. So that'll do it. Padres in for the first of 3 games tomorrow night. Let's wrap this one up. Diamondback Live post-game show is on the air. Joe Borowski with Todd Walsh. Todd.
Steve, thank you very much. Joe Borowski, former closer, led the American League in saves. Nothing like that dreaded 4-0 lead in the 9th, huh?
I know I've blown a couple of those in my day.
I watched at least one, I know.
Tough to pitch right there. When you're used to pitching with the game on the line, you kind of relax a little bit. That's what happens.
But again, just with Don and Mattingly and every manager that rolls through here talked about, last night, the Diamondbacks just keep coming at you, especially here in this ballpark. But the Dodgers hold them off. They win the game. They win the series. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll look back on this one with Diamondbacks Live, the postgame show. It is, of course, presented by CenturyLink. We'll have clubhouse reaction. Plus, we'll hear from skipper Chip Hale and Bob Brennan, his take on this one. 4-3 final. Back in a moment.